So we're live. We're doing a podcast for Last Warrior Standing, and we're very excited to have one of two guests right now. Our other guest had a wardrobe malfunction. Wait, I think he's back. There he is. So we're very excited to have Robert Clark from Daimyo and Andre from Carlson Gracie. Both of you guys will be competing next week for LWS. We are at the Pima Community College West Campus at the Center for the Arts. We love, that's where we got, I think that's where we got like our first big like push or big bang into like the show that we are. But we are now, next year, we're going to be downtown again at the Temple for the Arts. And
it's a beautiful
that
venue.
is a beautiful venue. What an event, man.
It's amazing.
What an event. So it's cool to have our last show for 2024 back at the Pima event. It's the smallest seater, is 400 seats. We are like 80% sold out. We haven't even counted the tickets, man, so we might be in trouble. So
Don't need to count tickets anymore.
Don't need to count
It's
tickets
a good
anymore.
problem.
Yeah, it's a good problem. So we're excited to have you guys. I have some questions for you guys as far as your journey in jiu-jitsu. So I'll ask the questions, and then you guys just go back and forth and answer them. But I want to start with Andre. Andre, your own Carlson Gracie. We were talking before the start of the podcast, your journey into America and starting and going through your visa process and why you're so active into competition. So I want to start with you, man. What's your journey into competition in jiu-jitsu? What, did you always compete, or was it hard to get into competition? Talk to us about your journey there.
Oh yeah, like I started competing like when I was blue belt, so competition was part of my journey. For sure this year was like very complicated, like I told you before, because the visa process and everything. I had to compete more often, but that's not mean that when I get all the process done, it's already done, all the process done, like I say, the green card is coming. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to stop competing. I'm going to still competing, but I have another responsibilities now, a lot more responsibility, the gym to take care. And I'm going to just trying to figure out like the best way to keep both, and get a good balance about the competing and be a business owner. This is both our big challenge, We want to go compete and deliver a good performance and in a work as well, provide the best for the students and everything else. So, but yeah, like I always compete, So for me, it's like I like the adrenaline, I like the challenge, keep me in shape. But I need like taking care of injuries. I'm probably gonna have a little break and then come back next year.
Come back 2025, yeah, beautiful, for sure. Man. Robert, what's your journey into competition, man?
Oh, my journey into competition.
And add into that, how do you manage? Because Andre, like I said, is a full-time instructor for Carlson Gracie. You teach almost every day of the week, also along with being a competitor. So how do you manage all that, just like Andre does?
I feel like jiu-jitsu for myself has always been a tool I've used to be the best version of myself. And competition it demands the best version of your jiu-jitsu. So in order to be the best version of myself, I'm always competing. Yeah. I want my jiu-jitsu to be sharp. I want to be sharp as a person. So I've always prioritized training, just staying ready year-round, to be able to compete whenever I can. Yeah. And I'm 37, so I only have so many years left of being able to train and compete like this. And I want to make sure that when I look back at this stage of my jiu-jitsu career, that I feel I've used it wisely.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Yeah. So both of you guys as competitors, one of the things that we're talking about is now you're having to manage your competition career along with preparing your students, right? So Robert, you teach the kids, you teach, adults and kids, and you put them in tournaments and stuff. How do you manage your mindset heading into competition for yourself? What tools do you use as a personally as a competitor? But what tools do you pass on to your students? What do you feel has worked the best to get your students ready for competition? And do you guys have a tough time getting those guys to step on the mat? And how do you manage that?
So for competition is like different scenarios, We have people that just start to compete, that are trying to figure out the person's game, and give them like a game plan. And also that's come with the confidence. Okay, I know what I'm doing. I have a plan. I know I should do this, should do that. For those people that already have some experience and trying to always improve what they already doing good, put something new for like a jiu-jitsu. You always have to improvise, you know.
Yeah.
You was not like a back in the day that's okay, that guy is a God player, that guy is a past player.
Yeah.
Right now you should be good in all the situations.
That is true, yeah.
But you always have to take your best weapon. You know, you're not gonna get there and okay, whatever. There's a bigger chance for you to lose if you have to improvise too much. But I'm trying to get my students confident technically and ask them to be commitment with the training. Because what I see in the jiu-jitsu sport jiu-jitsu right now is very competitive. Look, he's a master, I'm masters. And look at go to the master wars, go to the pants, man. Everybody in shape, everybody like training like a professional, you know. You cannot, it's no joke. So if you want to compete, you gotta feel like that you can. If you commit to train every day, if you feel health, and you have a good plan, I think that's is the great direction for you to succeed in a competition, you know.
Beautiful. What is there anything specifically mindset wise that you do for yourself that you feel has helped you remain active, especially like this year? Like we were talking about the number of competitions you did this year, which is an insane amount of competitions just for a single, you know, January through December kind of thing. What did you use mentally to avoid like burnout, especially teaching and all that stuff?
You mean like for me, don't get tired? Or?
Yeah. Did you? Is there anything that you did? Like, did you manage like what days you take time off? Do you use any specific form of like meditation or a mindset that helps you take on the challenges of competition and still not get burned out? Because I feel the burnout is what gets to a lot of people.
Yeah, like for me, like it's pretty natural, you know. I don't do any meditation. I try once, like I can't stay like still, you know. I can't relax.
Yeah.
What I feel is like when I'm training, when I have like for example, I have a competition in a month coming up. I think like that gives me like a more focus to my training. I have a better plan. Otherwise, I'm gonna be just like hanging out and like rolling without purpose or trying to improve something, you know. And my meditation actually is when I roll. For example, if I teach all day long, and I do not training at all, when I get home, I feel that I am a little bit stressed.
Yeah.
But if I at least do a couple of rounds in the end of the day, I feel that stress go away. You know, I get home like a lot more like relaxed. I think that's my meditation, you know, because this is why I'm trying to next year in 2025 I have a lot of business goals, but I want to keep it competing because when I compete, especially when I travel, I go out of the routine that I have every day. There's something else. I see friends. I see like a Brazilian friends that I don't used to see like for months or for, you know, sometimes for a year. When I go to another state, when I go to another city, and so I think this is the part that like give me comfortable to compete. I like that environment, you know.
It is also like those tournaments are just like a giant party where you get to see people that you haven't seen or like you don't get to see all year unless you're going to those big tournaments. So, I mean, it's so funny, man. Like you're walking 500 feet, but it takes you 20 minutes to walk those because you keep running into friends, you know, people that you competed against, people that were like your idols or something. Like it's really cool, man. But yeah, I love that running into like that friend as you guys are walking down, you know. What about you, man? What's your mindset tricks and talking about getting people motivated to compete?
Yeah, I think at the academy, when I'm teaching, I try to start them early in their career that you know competing is going to be an expectation if you want to be the best version of yourself in the room. And I think that at Daimyo, you start looking at most of the upper belts. Most of them are going to be competitors, and I like. I feel like we give confidence kind of through osmosis, right? Where it's like, hey, I'm training with these guys that have world titles, no-gi world titles. There's multiple people in the room that are at that caliber, and I'm still improving, right? As as a beginner or intermediate level practitioner. And I think it's important as an instructor to point that out as often as possible. Like you are rolling with people that have been there and
That can help you,
done
guide
that
you,
and guide you through this. And that's always been an important part of me to be able to have those titles so that I can help guide somebody else through that, through that process.
Right. It's important to be able to have those answers, right? When somebody goes, hey, I want to do pants.
And realistic answers, too.
Right, exactly. I want to do pants. I want to do worlds. And I feel like you lose so much credibility where if you go, I don't know, man, I've never done it, but, do your best.
Yeah.
That's just not the right answer. The right answer is an instructor goes, I've been there myself, and this is how you navigate those waters. As difficult as it might be, this is what you can expect, And it gives you that confidence as a competitor where you're like, oh, man, okay, my coach knows,
Yeah, for sure. And then it provides a great balance, I think, as an instructor for if you haven't been there or done that, you get a lot of answers that or a lot of guidance that's like train all the time, only consume jiu-jitsu, only do jiu-jitsu.
Right,
and now it's like, hey, take
balance, right? Take time off.
Take time off.
You don't need to be here every day.
Your body needs to heal.
And that's the balance, right? Where like there's for some people that are like, I'm going to compete, so I'm going to be here 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, you're gonna get burned out.
4 or 5 good days from you, and then rest. Yeah.
Because majority of our guys, man, jiu-jitsu is so popular that you're gonna get guys that have other responsibilities, that have kids, that have wives, that have work,
full-time jobs,
and you're not that phenom that just can devote to it. So it's very important to start teaching people how to manage their life. So. Speaking about competition, man, everybody has in their journey of competition, everybody has a tournament that was a defining moment of your career where you learned so much about yourself, gave you that push where you're like, okay, I'm in the right path. What was that tournament or what was that event for you in competition where you're like, okay, this is my identity. This is what I want to throw myself into as a purpose in life?
So, the World Tournament.
The World? Yeah, man.
Yes, I had a chance to step on the podium once, and was kind of 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. And I compete all the time, and who's compete knows how hard it is to step in the IBJJF World, so PANS, those big tournaments.
To get on that podium, man. Yeah.
It's a long marathon because there's so many competitors and masters. Right now, it's just coming from everywhere. And so when you step there and you say, okay, it's possible, and you just have, now I'm on that process to figure out the right scenario to prepare myself and and be in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the biggest motivation when you see that close and okay, I need a couple more meters to reach the top of the mountain,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then trying to figure out what I should change and what I have to improve to get that level,
Mm-hmm.
Or the day, probably is going to be a day, Sometimes you prepare, you do the best, you organize everything, and then you just don't perform how
you
it's
just
supposed
don't perform.
to.
Yeah, your body betrays you, man. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Where your body you get out there and you're like, come on, man, I need you, and your body just takes a dump on you, and you're gonna have to do the best with that you have, And one of the things that I always tell my guys, I'm like, hey, man, you want to prepare so much that even on your worst day, you are the best. You need to be able to do that, because I always say this, right? Everybody looks like a rock star when everything is going right, your home life is good, your finances are good, you train, you this, and then there's no injuries. And it's like your first couple of rounds, everything goes great. That third, fourth round when things start hurting, where you're starting to limp, and you see everybody by the fourth match, nobody walks straight to the mat, man. Everybody's got a little limp now, That's jiu-jitsu right there. That's the one where you're like, okay, this is where your training really starts taking you, So what about you, man? What was your tournament, your event in your life where you were like, okay, this is it for me?
Oh, man, I feel like I still take so much from every tournament. I'd have to say probably the purple belt Masters Worlds run was the most important for me. You know, my goal is to be a black belt world champion, and I think in the colored belts, trying to win the majors for 5 years or something, and always kind of coming up short. I'd podium, but never first place. And so every time you leave, it's like, what am I doing wrong? Like what am I not what am I doing wrong, but what am I leaving out? What piece of the puzzle is being left out? And so every time I lost, I'd come back with something else, whether it's a change in the weight training or a change in the diet, a change in the schedule, a change in what am I learning? Why am I learning it? So I feel Purple Belt Worlds was the first was the first world title that I won in the color belts masters, and it was awesome to have that relief of like, oh, okay, I'm on a path that can
validation, right?
Yeah. That I'm succeeding right now, you know. So I think I'm a brown belt right now. I'm still learning. I feel like I'm learning now more than ever. But yeah, that purple belt worlds, I just had matches where I was in bad spots, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, this person's got to kill me for me to lose, right? And then I think after that tournament, just kind of coming out of it being like, man, you've never had that. You've never been that person before, but like this time you got to be that person. That's like, if you're gonna beat me, you're gonna kill me. Yeah. And
I've had the conversation with Andrew because we were talking about trying to stay healthy, right? And then getting up there in like your 40s, it's very important where you have to be honest about yourself, about the way you think, and not put yourself in situations that you don't need to be, right? Because I think I love the way you said it, where you said, if I go and I'm hurt and I get put in a bad position, my fighter mindset, it's going to cost me to get hurt because I'm not going to tap. And I'm going to fight that position, and it's only going to get worse, you know? Yeah. Which is a great thing to have. It's a great mindset to know that you have. So I think it's a great tool that gets you out of bad positions where you're like caught in a bad position. You're like, I'm going to let this arm pop a couple times, and then I'll get out. But you don't want to, that can be your primary tool, you know, because that just shortens your lifespan at the end, you know, towards upper to middle 40s and 50s.
For sure. Because
you use that so much over here. Now there's not so much of you left over here, you know. So how do you guide your students through that, through injuries? I feel like injuries is such a key component of competition because, especially for the new competitor, you know, like the new competitor goes, Coach, I'm pulling out. My pinky hurts. You know, and they're like, "Well, my ankle hurts," and they think you're kidding. When you go, "Well, you have another one, right?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, of course I have another pinky," and you're like, "Well, use that one," and they can't grasp that at the beginning of their jiu-jitsu journey. They don't grasp it. So how do you guide your students through like injuries and overcoming like those challenges as they're preparing for a tournament?
This is the big and beginners. They hurt you all the time, you know, because they do a lot of crazy movements, and sometimes they don't know what they're doing. Normal for a beginner. Then they get hurt. I'm trying remind my students what is the purpose for they to be there in jiu-jitsu. You know, guys gotta be consistent. Mm-hmm. So if you get injury all the time because you're doing the wrong thing or your ego don't let you tap, this is the bad way to get injuries, because one thing is you go to the tournament and put 100% and do your best and try like he said, man, this guy gotta have to kill me if you want to win. It's one thing. Well, the thing is that person that's like, I don't want to tap in training.
Mm-hmm. Ego in training, yeah.
Well, man, you want to be the champion of the training, of the specific training or something like that. That's not going to work. It's not going to take you too long. I try to make them smart about those situations. So understand the differences. Competition is one thing, and training is another thing. Because I don't know any other martial art that allowed you to tap and give up before you get an injury and start over again. Because I tell them, for example, if somebody stretch your arm, your mistake is not here at this point. Your mistake was 3 steps before that the person reached that point to get your arm.
Yeah.
Here, tap.
Yeah.
And think about how to prevent that. This is the smart way to train and don't get injury, because you're gonna get injury just because somebody gonna pull guard and gonna land the butt on your toe.
Yeah.
You know, or somebody gonna try double leg and you're gonna hit the elbow in your face by accident. If you can prevent, like, don't get injury because you don't tap, you're gonna give you more miles on the mat, and you're gonna learn more. So, just trying to give some advices all the time. It's all the time, because this is a big challenge, because especially we don't want to lose students for a month or 2 or forever.
Because they get hurt,
Because they get hurt.
Yeah.
And I gotta and I always hey, remember, you're here for 1 hour, 2 hours. Your 40 hours a week work job needs you 100% in health. You gotta be functional.
Yeah.
So you don't want this thing here messed up your personal life.
Rest, yeah. To quote the great Kurt Oceaner, you messed up a long time ago. It's like you said, it's not the armbar, So I took this from Gustavo Dantas up in Phoenix. Very, very smart individual. But he one time he was asking, somebody asked him how to escape side control, and he goes, "Nah, I refuse to answer. I refuse to answer how to escape side control. Show me what you're doing in your guard that it's failing you, that is landing you with a person in your side control. That's what we should be answering, So not that, coach, how do I get out of an armbar? Well, what did you do that got you armbar? That's what we should be addressing, So what about you, man? Injuries, and how do you manage it, and with yourself and your students?
I always say, man, you have to be in love with losing during training. Like Andre was saying, there's obviously a different mentality that you're going to go into a competition with, right? But in training, I'm always looking for how do I lose this match, and that's against anybody that I'm training with, and I try with my students to impart the same mindset with them, because I feel like when they first are starting, it's all about winning, right? You get your first match. Oh, okay. I'm gonna, how do I win this match? You've got to be in love with losing.
You're not trying new things if you're not losing.
No, yeah, you're not trying new things. Losing with a purpose, right? Losing with a purpose. Right, so, I'm not just going out there to let somebody beat me, but I want to find the holes in my game. I want. A great example is when Andre came into one of our open mats, right? And I was like, oh, I can't wait to roll with this black belt so that he can show me, where are the holes in my game, right? Because at the end of the day, I want to be a better competitor. I don't want to beat anybody up in the academy. It's not worth it overall in the grand scheme of the journey, right? To be a gym hero or the big shark in the little pond.
Which is a poisonous mindset that does happen at some academies.
Of course.
Where they're like, they're just not the right training atmosphere.
Yeah.
But
So I try to, I impart that. And then there's always the, are you hurt or are you injured conversation. I feel like everyone gets that once or twice in their career. If you're injured, man, I always say keep your head in the game. Come to class, watch class or instructionals, or be asking questions. I feel like if you get injured and you can't roll, if you do it right, you can become a much better competitor or practitioner.
It allows you to look at it from a different perspective.
Without any of that, without any of the win or loss mentality, right? Because your body's completely removed. It's just your mind that's involved in the sport, and I feel like your IQ can shoot way up. I've seen a lot of students, they come back from an injury 1 month or 2 months, and their IQ is just way higher because they've had time to just
they've invested it properly. They've invested it properly. Yeah. Also, that are you hurt or you're injured? If you're injured, then you're gonna have to take some time off to properly let it heal. But if you're hurt, that means something hurts, but it's not limiting your ability to train in a modified scenario,
Yes,
right? So
yeah.
I know people that are, because this knee was hurting, they played half guard on this side, so they got really good at this other set of things, you know? But then the next time that shoulder was hurting, they had to play half guard on this other side. So their technique shot through the roof because they were playing these other things. And I think that's something that people, when they're hurt, not injured, when they're hurt, they need to embrace that. They need to know that you grab a good partner that allows you to still continue to train safely and try new techniques. Try something new that allows you to still continue to grow from different parts, you know, with the understanding that's like, hey, if you pass, the match is over. You know, I get to play half guard, and as long as I'm in half guard, I'm safe. But if you pass, we reset. You know, and,
100%.
Yeah, but it takes the right dance partner too to be able to do that. So
For sure.
yeah, I like that, man.
Yeah.
So the big difference of Last Warrior Standing is that it puts the spotlight on you, right? We do interviews, we send our production crew to your academy, and they take footage of you, of your students. The day of the show, or prior to the show, we're on our social media, we're blasting you guys out there. We want to make sure that the world knows that you guys are competing. Want to make sure that the world knows about you guys. What is the biggest difference pressure-wise that you feel, or fun-wise, that you feel from competing in a big tournament where like nobody knows you're competing because it's so anonymous, right? There's just like thousands of people on the mat, you know, versus Last Warrior Standing. Here's your song, here's the stage, here's the light, go shine and have fun. What's your experience with Last Warrior Standing competing on the stage?
So I like this. Like you say, all the eyes going to be on you.
Yeah.
You know, you're in a theater, like there is nobody else fighting next to you that's going to take the attention away. So it's just trying to manage like the adrenaline, because the adrenaline can be good, but also can be bad. If you take it over your body and think like, oh, everybody watching, I cannot make mistakes, something like that.
And it gets so quiet too, right? Yeah.
That can be like an issue if you let this take it over your mind. I think you should enjoy exactly the positive vibe. What is like, okay, I'm in a big stage, I have all the attention for me, I'm gonna have fun, and what it is, because any fight is guaranteed, so everything can happen. And just make your best strategy, you know. I like that. I like the environment, and also something, especially here, you know, in Tucson, there is a huge jiu-jitsu community here. I think like this event is amazing for the community, because when I just moved, I was a lot of things going on just in Phoenix, and you know, I believe like before was California, so
Right.
it's amazing. It has like something big over here.
Yeah.
Last time I was impressed last event that I didn't fight. I took the students, and I saw the tittle like a full and packed, and
We sold out. I don't want to say it, but we oversold that just because of how the crowd moves. You know, there's people that are there just for some matches. We were able to just keep selling tickets, man. So I mean, it was like it's a beautiful theater downtown Tucson for the last event and for the next one. It's like over 600 seats, but we sold close to like 1,000. You know, just because we were allowing people to like cycle through.
So cool.
And it was just so beautiful, man. Like one of the things that we got from the managers of the venue, they were like the energy of the crowd. They're like, people are smiling, like the crowd is smiling. You know, the crowd is like into the matches, and they're cheering for like people from. That's another thing about the Tucson community. You know, it's like they're cheering for the guy that doesn't even train with them, but they know him because it's a tight community for the most part. You know, so. What's your experience Last Warrior Standing, the stage?
I love Last Warrior Standing. I mean, IBJJF, it feels like you're kind of just being herded like cattle through the process, right? And it's very much result driven. Like, I'm there for the title. If I don't get the title, you know, whatever, I'm going to leave. And I love LWS because it gives you, I feel like, the value. It places the value on the athletes that is equal to the amount that they're putting into jiu-jitsu and that they're training. And this is something I always tell everyone at the academy, right? It's like, you deserve to be paid to compete. You train enough to have the spotlight on you. So don't shy away from that. Embrace that. And I feel like it's it's just fun to be up on a stage, like you said, the spotlight's on you. It's a rare. Not everyone gets to experience something like that. You know, to be firing on all cylinders, mind, body, spirit, on a stage in front of a huge auditorium. You know. I just it's fun to feel valued as a competitor.
Beautiful.
A lot of those other tournaments, you don't get that.
Yeah, no, we do try to put the value on the competitors, from the kids to the white belts to the black belts. You know, it's like if you're gonna put so much time into your training, we want to be there for your journey. You know, that's why we allow white belts too. It's like we want to be there for your journey, not just not be snobbish and be like, oh, just black belts only, and world champions only. It's like we want everybody we want to catch them at every step of the journey, and hopefully use this event as like, if this event can be that validated moment for their journey, like I asked you guys earlier, what's your personal? If this can be that for that person, then we've done our job. For
sure.
So for your match coming up, how's training going? Talk to us about. Obviously, don't give your game plan away, but talk about your training. Your game plan is a 5-minute match. It's you had a prior opponent. Your opponent dropped out due to injury. You have a new opponent. Talk about how things are going for your training and what can we expect?
Yeah, like the training is like I fought yesterday, so I have been like consistently training. The strategy will be like a little different that's supposed to be yesterday, because yesterday I thought it was like IBJJF rules, and then the last minute they told me it was like submission only. And I was with a plan for submission only, but for next week. And then I pretty much like I have to change a little bit, but the training don't change much, because especially I have no idea who is the guy that came at the last minute,
Yeah.
And I like this way because I focus on what I can do instead like be worried about what my opponents can do. I think it's too much overthinking. I think it's better focus on what I planning for, and it's 5 minutes. So everybody like is strong during this time, so I should be very precise about what I'm gonna do, and try to go 100% submission only. I don't want to let the refs decide. I don't like the refs' decision most of the time.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like reach for the submission, and like
even when I win, I don't like the referee's decision.
Yeah,
It's just like I don't like that feeling of letting somebody else decide.
Yeah, because
the
it's
worth of my effort.
The goal, when it says submission only, I think it should be your focus, like, man, I'm going to try submit and try like not like a close guard and just hold or something like that, or fight for positions. So, and like, it's a stage, man. Like, I'm at a point that I don't really care about the result no more, I tell my students, man, I don't have nothing to prove. I do it because I love. And if I have to do something ninja and crazy, I'm going to do that, just to make like some highlights and let the people enjoy the show.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. What about you? What's your training plan, approach? You're fighting for the No-Gi Masters title.
Yeah, the 195 Masters title. So a lot more No-Gi. I train as much as I can. So I haven't been training. I haven't changed anything in training in particular other than more no-gi. I always get super excited for these fights because it's harder to find high caliber no-gi people. I feel like IBJJ, you're looking for the high caliber gi stuff. IBJJ has the big circuit. AZB, JJL is like right behind. But when it comes to no-gi, it's like it's kind of few and far in between. So this will be my third J Pages guy. I'm like, can we stop with them, please?
They bring it, man.
I know. They're animals, dude.
And I think they're primarily
Animals.
no-gi. I think he's one of the first academies to switch completely no-gi. So that's all they want to do. They just
I think
want to
they do both
no-gi.
still. They're just animals at no-gi.
Yeah.
They I was actually texting one of the other people I competed against, and I was like, this has got to be the last one for a while because I want to come roll with you guys eventually. So, they're super high caliber. I love high caliber fights. I'm excited. I've been in love with nogi recently, and so every time I get to compete in nogi, it's like just a gift, like a really cool opportunity. So, yeah, nothing crazy. Just excited.
Just excited. It's Saturday, so it's Saturday afternoon, and it's here, and all the hard work is done. So I feel like this is just a week where you just really get to like focus on yourself and just stay healthy and just keep up your conditioning and your mindset. Andre, how many students do you have competing at Last Where You're Standing?
Good question.
He's like, I don't know. I'm fighting myself.
I
You got like 4, right? Eight?
No, 8.
Eight? Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
Nice.
I have around 4 kids and 4 adults.
Yeah.
Counting with me.
Yeah.
Counting on me. Yeah.
Beautiful. How are they excited? What's their I always enjoy I feel that some of the adults are a little bit shy about that walk to the stage, and the kids embrace it, man. The kids are throwing their hands up and they're like, I enjoy that.
Kids enjoy the show. Kids like it, all that, like all the attention,
Yeah.
So the kids will really, really enjoy it. Some of the adults too, and I just like a advice, hey, don't
Calm
lose
down.
calm down. Don't lose the focus,
Yeah.
because the fight is right there.
Yeah.
Don't just think it's for fun.
Right. Yeah. What's is there a parting advice that you give to your students right before the show?
So that every person is different, Like if I feel the person like a kind of nerves, I'm trying to put like that positive like a word that like can encourage them. Oh, hey, don't worry, you're gonna do good, all that stuff. If somebody that's just overconfident and I have to calm down, hey, focus on the strategy, Every person is different. I try to approach it. I know my students, like my competitors especially, so I trying to always give like a particular direction. Not there is nothing in general, more like a very specific.
Beautiful. Any parting words for people that are coming to see you at Last Where You're Standing on Saturday? Any parting words for anybody that wants to compete but haven't done it? Because there's a lot of guys that are maybe a little bit hesitant whether they've done enough or whether, how to manage that level of stress of being at the show, being at the theater, being backstage and all that stuff. And then you get walked into the tunnel of death and then boom, you're on the stage. Any words you have for people that want to come out and cheer for you and for the people that are listening?
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna do my best and I'm gonna put the show. I like fancy movements. I'm gonna try some, and hope win. I'm very well trained and I already on the weight. I don't have to cut weight no more. So right now, just stay healthy and really put my performance. Mm-hmm. And for the people that sometimes I feel like it's it's kind of intense because there's a lot of attention or something like that. I say put this as a personal challenge. Imagine you go into a job interview that somebody keep you in the room for a while until you talk to the boss.
Yeah.
Or when you have to do a presentation in school or something like that you have to prepare. Imagine if you pass through the situation that you're going to fight somebody that know jiu-jitsu like you and stay on that a process of preparation and then minutes before the fight. If you manage that adrenaline, I can bet you can't manage anything outside in your life,
Beautiful.
So think this way, take it lessons for your life. Don't think it just is that moment, the fight. I think you can carry that.
It goes beyond that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It goes
a lot
beyond that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Robert, what do you got? People that want to come out and cheer. People that words for your how many teammates do you have competing at Last Word Standing?
Goodness.
Like 10?
What do we have? 10? Yeah.
10, something like that? Yeah.
Just half of every class.
Yeah.
Man, just do it. Just do it. You're going to be, like Andre was saying, you're going to be a better person for doing that. And what better way to compete than to not pay for registration, to have, all eyes on you, to be surrounded by a community that...
And to get paid.
To get paid. Yeah. And, to be surrounded by a community that just loves jiu-jitsu, right? It's the Tucson community, the Tucson jiu-jitsu community is beautiful. We're very spoiled with how all the academies, get along, support each other, cheer for each other, like you said, when they're not on even when they're not on the same team. So do it. Very thankful for the opportunity. Very thankful for everyone that comes and watches. And I'm excited to put on a show.
Beautiful, man. Let's do it. Andre, parting words. Tell us about your academy, where people can find you, goals that you want to share with people for 2025, and tell us about your academy and parting words.
First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here, talking today, hanging out with you guys. It was amazing. So, and also for the show, something I think like Tucson has a potential to have something like this level. Was amazing. Who'd never been there should go to see how it is. Like the event is packed all the time, and the people really fight hard. It's not just like people trying like a stalling or something.
Yeah, no,
like
they
that.
go for the kill, man.
Yeah. So the people should really, if you are, I don't have nobody for my gym to competing, so buy a ticket and go, because it's gonna be a day that you're can take somebody and hanging out on a Saturday,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if somebody wants to reach me out, my Instagram is like Andre F. BJJ or Carlson Gracie Tucson, and Facebook page, same thing. In our website, like carlsongracietucson.com. So if somebody live like in the east side and interesting, like to start jiu-jitsu, we are very welcome for new people, always with a good introduction and like help with this new word, martial art, jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai.
Beautiful. Yeah, man. Robert, where people can find you, parting words.
Oh gosh, where can you find me? I think my Instagram handle is Robert Clark JJ. Yeah. Robert Clark JJ. Facebook Robert Clark. Like Andre was saying, come out to the show. It's an experience. The energy is awesome. Even if somehow you're watching this and you've never seen jiu-jitsu before, come check it out. It's very cool. I have family members that go that had just came to support me, and now they're there at every show. Just man, this is fun. This is cool. No, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the show. Most of all, I know I've said it every show we have, but it's next level when it comes to types of events in the city, and it's very special, and it's beautiful to see it continue to grow and turn into something that's just massive.
It's huge, man.
Yeah.
So that'll be the end of the show. I want to thank Andre. I want to thank Robert for taking time coming out today. Like I said, it comes with a clap. This is, like I said, our show is next Saturday, November 16th. Doors open at 2, fights start at 3. We have black belt matches. We have brown belt matches, purple belt, blue kids. We have like over 14 youth fights, which are always like great because in those matches, you're seeing the next world champion, man. And it's so crazy to see those kids, the way, what they're able to do. Like some of those kids are doing stuff that I didn't do till purple, So it's just amazing to see them. So come out, support the show. This will be at Pima Community College West Campus, Center for the Arts. And that'll be our last show for the year. We're back March 1st, downtown Tucson. And we're going to open for applications because for some crazy reason, I'm already matchmaking for that. Just because people want to jump on the show and we want to bring the best card that we can. So this is something that I don't get to take time off from. It's just something that we're always working on. So thank you guys. You guys are amazing, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.